Welcome to episode 242 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined by Matthew Figueira.
We're wearing the same shirt color. I just realized.
Indeed. Although I am in a t-shirt.
Hilarious.
And you are... although your apartment's quite warm, so...
It is now. When I woke up, it was cold. I put the heating on.
Oh, really?
Well, not cold. I mean, it was 18 degrees is a bit chilly. So
it is fun that between the last episode and this one, I actually did a whole trip to London, visited you, and then came back home.
Now you understand how the blinds work.
I do. It's fascinating. They work exactly how I thought they would.
I gave Alessandro a whole science lesson because he had no idea. Never seen blinds in his life.
It happened within like the first, 5 minutes of me being in your apartment. You're like, look at these fucking blinds.
Look at the blinds.
Just come understand them.
Just happened.
It was good.
Lenska
it was very good. Matthew and Lenska was such good hosts to me. They fed me. They gave me a bed.
Made you do dishes to pay for your boarding?
No, I watched you do dishes.
Yeah, I got that part wrong.
Yeah,
it's like
you fucked up there.
I'll make him do dishes, and then I end up doing the dishes. Like, well, at least he can watch me do the dishes.
I did feel bad because your basin is kind of at the point where your roof slopes.
When I'm 18,
I'm watching Matthew do dishes
when I'm 18, I've got back issues. Remember this time in our lives when I had to slouch to do dishes.
Yep, literally.
I'll tell you what.
It was a good trip.
I've hit my head twice, 3 times maybe, and I've learned never again. I walk around the space so carefully.
I'm not even that surprised given your stature and the low ceilings.
The first few times were sore. Don't get me wrong. Nothing worse than like bending down, standing up at full speed, and then like connecting with the corner of the slope. Man.
You get your neighbor downstairs even being like, "Are you okay?"
Concussion has never been more painful. Let me tell you.
Oh, I also got to hear your neighbor playing the flute.
The sweet sound of that flute.
It was great. Yeah. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Everyone
I don't know why you and
Lenska
Lenska are so mean.
Same reaction. Everyone arrives like, "Oh, what's that? Oh, is it somebody playing flute?" So we're like, "Yes, they're training under so and so. They're practicing." You guys are like, "Oh, that's nice." And we were like, "Yeah, we thought the same." The first few weeks was lovely, and then we got over it.
To be fair, you said the same about your stairs, and I was like, "These stairs aren't bad." And by the end of it, I was like, "Fuck these stairs! I hate these stairs."
I mean,
but that was because we were walking like 25k plus steps a day, so I was literally dying. I felt like an old man. We were in was it the National Gallery?
Yeah.
And every bench I just sat down because I was just like, I'm dying. And then Matthew and Lenska go, "Oh, look at the nice paintings."
we do have to remember though, like we've completely climatized to the amount of walking. And I mean, look, to be fair, we walked way more than any average person would walk on a weekend. But we do that regularly. So we are 100% climatized to that. But we have to remember that between just the day-to-day walking and walking that much on weekends, not every average person does that, let alone people who come from SA who drive around to places.
Yeah.
So when we were like walking around, like, "Oh, this is lovely," looking at you literally die. It's like, "Oh yeah, can I get you some water?"
It was funny though, because it prepared me for when I was in Manchester, and then when I walked up there with my colleague, he was suffering and I wasn't.
You were fine, yeah.
So yeah, I was totally. So it takes like a day or two it reminds me, like whenever I've been on a holiday with lots of walking, it is those first few days you just get wrecked. But that day especially, because we did that run in the morning, I was so shattered by the end of the day.
Saturday's the day we went to the museum on Sunday, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, we went Sunday because of the line on Saturday.
Somehow, it blows my mind, we did more steps on Saturday.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Doing
because
a 10K run on Sunday morning. I have no idea.
And on Sunday, we like walked pretty much to your offices and then into London. Like it felt like we walked forever. I don't know how.
We somehow did more steps on Saturday. No idea.
But we ate Five Guys on Saturday, and that was great.
Five Guys was worth it.
I ate it again in Manchester. It was great.
Nice.
too many chips. My God.
Yeah.
So many.
Chip portion is aggressive.
The face of my colleague because he did the same. We ordered the smallest you can have there, and you get that little cup with the chips, and then you look in your plastic bag or your paper bag, and there's literally maybe twice as many as you ordered in the bag. They're just chucked in there. And he was like,
absolutely love it.
What has happened here? Was this a mistake? I'm like, no, this is how they do it. It was,
Perfect.
I really don't like the fact that I had to pay £18 for Five Guys. It's a lot of fucking money for a meal.
What did you have? Because when you ordered that Saturday...
so this time I got a burger, chips, and a drink. So it's like £4 for the drink, £4 for the chips.
No, because that makes sense. Because I was like,
yeah.
Because when we, I suppose it was me. Yeah, it was me and Lenska. We both got burgers. We shared chips, and the drink.
Sharing chips is the play. That's the play.
Is sharing a cup frowned upon though? Like technically,
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Lenska
if they wanted to stop you, they would. No,
yeah, because the lady when she served us, she looked at us. She's like, "And drinks?" I was like, "Just one, please." And she looked. She's like, "Okay," but I could see. I don't know.
She knew.
Maybe she was like,
she knew.
But there's two of you. I was just going to play out.
Yes, we share germs all the time. Yes.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like we have no issue sharing a cup, but is it frowned upon? Should we both?
I don't think so.
Should we both get bottomless drinks? Because then what's to stop a family of 10 going and ordering one cup and then just?
Then don't make it bottomless. Like. Come to South Africa where it isn't bottomless.
These are things that keep me up at night. Like, what if a family of 10 go and they have one cup? Will they be kicked out? I don't know. Is there some terms and conditions?
I think if you stay there for like 2 hours just drinking Coke, you probably would.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Five Guys was good,
the one in Manchester didn't have the peanuts, though, which was very disappointing.
Did you even have Five Guys if you didn't have...
Those peanuts are good.
Stuff your face with.
I think Lenska and I ate way too many peanuts before our food actually came. I was like,
I'm going to smash a burger. I don't need peanuts. You and Lenska, yes, peanuts.
You did the right thing, though. In London, I didn't do the all the way with the toppings, and I did that later. That is the play. That is so good. Oh, my God.
It's good.
Yeah. Five Guys, man. I'm really sad I didn't try a milkshake. Every time I went, I was like, I should try a milkshake. And then I was like,
their milkshakes look good as well.
They do look good. You can put bacon in a milkshake. It's great. What a time to be alive.
Do they put bacon in a milkshake?
You can. They do the same thing in the milkshakes as the burgers. You can just add toppings. So the base is vanilla, and then you can add, and bacon is one. What do you mean, why? Do you know it's not even the most calorie dense thing on there? The most is peanut butter. Sorry, peanut butter, which makes sense, I guess. Peanut butter is quite. But a peanut butter milkshake sounds very good.
Peanut butter and
bacon milkshake. Oh, hell yeah. Get that salty. Hell yeah. Yum.
Let me just title this segment, London Fitness and Bacon Milkshakes.
Who knew you could make milkshakes not vegetarian?
Who knew? America. They knew.
Yeah.
Said, how can we fuck with vegetarian/vegan people? Let's put bacon in our milkshakes.
Why not?
Fuck him. It's great.
Oh, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed my time there. It wasn't as cold as I thought, so that was good.
Lovely to host you, and it is now cold, so you timed it very well. My sister did the same thing. Yeah. She arrived, literal heat wave. Like, not a word of a lie. The day she arrived, heat wave. We're like, why did you do this?
I can actually imagine your place, because your place is nice and toasty. Like, I felt very, very warm. Like almost hot, but then again, I was sleeping right next to the little heater thingy. But like in summer, I can only imagine how like toasty it gets up there.
So we actually found for the remainder of summer that we had, but when we had the heat wave, it was disgustingly hot.
Oof.
Open windows, and it's just you're just walking around in an oven.
Just more hot air.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So this time summer next year, we're definitely getting a fan or something, because that'll help.
Need to move that air around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's currently how it feels here. Is just like you open a window and it's just like hot, sticky air comes in, and you're just like,
Can't wait.
Yeah. And I need aircon. I desperately need an aircon.
Yeah, she's like.
Although with all the load shedding, what use is the fucking aircon? To be honest.
You can get
air condition a room, then it gets back up to temp, then air condition a room again. Like, what a fucking
Just go outside. You can touch grass and touch air. I mean, don't be ridiculous.
These schedules are so stupid. Why is it every 2 hours? It's insane. They're like, to try and get away from the 4-hour blocks, we've instead broken them up into 2-hour blocks. And it's like, okay. But now it's like literally like off at 10, on at 12, off at 2, on at 4. It's like, this is insanity.
Why is it on
this
stage?
This is crazy.
Why is it on stage 6? So I'm completely disconnected. I just haven't really been in touch. Like,
they say because of the heat, I guess like you need additional cooling.
Yeah,
more people are using like fans.
I was going to say, I know load shedding has never gone away, but it feels that I think towards the end of winter, it never disappeared, but it tapered like stage 1.
Oh,
stage
completely.
2.
Yeah. I mean, for the prior month before I visited you, even 2 months, it was like perpetually stage like 2. And even for a week or 2, there was none, like
what?
Absolutely none. Yeah, it was like the first time the entire year. It was completely manageable. We had got into this phase of like, oh, we will maybe not have power like 2 hours today or something like that.
Which is still,
but now this is extreme.
Completely incorrect. You should never have to deal with that. But,
100%.
It's just sad this is like the norm. It's like,
this is the savage Stockholm syndrome we've been indoctrinated into, where it's like if it's stage 2, it's actually normal and fine.
Yeah.
And I hate it. But now that we're in stage 6, it's just like,
I know.
10 hours a day?
Jumping back to stage 6, it's like pissed people off, like rightfully so.
Yeah, people are riled up again, like all of a sudden. Yeah, it's great. It's a good time.
Love it. Love to see.
You know what else I love?
Touching
grass. You know what else I
grass.
love to see? I love touching grass. I love to see video games while touching grass.
Oh, wow. This is why you love the
Touch
Switch.
grass, Switch in hand, one hand.
Amazing.
One-handing. Let's check one chat, talk about video games. And over the past 2 weeks, we've actually played quite a bit. Can you believe it?
I think just some housekeeping before we go on. So we're going to talk about games today. But we're doing back-to-back episodes, and we are going to skip the news. Sorry. There are no questions for today and next week's episode for you. Because we're trying to squeeze in a lot of recordings before we both go away for before we just close shop for the December break. So this week you're getting a games-focused episode, and it's jam-packed. We've got Alan Wake 2, Modern Warfare 3. We've played a bunch of Zelda. I've rolled credits on Mario Wonder, so we're ticking a lot of those boxes. We've got lots of games. Next week we will do our Game Award predictions, that episode will come out on the 5th of December. So just
the awards are on the 9th.
7th, I think. 7th or 8th?
7th, okay.
So that'll
let me quickly check while you continue.
That'll time up nicely. And then the following week, our last episode for the year will be our Game of the Year discussion. We typically do our top 5 and then some, honorary mentions or whatever.
So if you want to send emails for that, send emails your top 5 or your whatever.
Yeah.
Or just anything to do with Game of the Year. I'd love to read those out and
this
just
is what
get
I posted on Twitter
consensus.
yesterday. I've already got some lists.
Oh, really? You're ahead of the game. Game Awards is the 7th of December, but it will be the 8th, morning of the 8th here in South Africa, obviously, because it's at fucking 3 a.m.
So we'll do our predictions episode. But now that that's all out the way, we are going to just
I love those predictions because I always lose.
I think
always lose.
Last year you lost.
Last year was close. No, last year was close, but I still lost.
No,
always go. I try keep it rational, and Matty goes with his heart, and turns out heart wins.
I listen to the heart of the cards, and this is why I win. You out here playing not Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm trying to do 4D chess here. And,
4D chess
just doesn't work out.
What would you like to start with today? What shall we kick off with? Let's
do Modern Warfare 3 quickly, because that's the game both of us have played. I'm one away from finishing it as well.
You are pretty close to the end, I would say. Oh, that's not the footage.
So let's do that one, and then we can move on to the other ones.
Actual stuff. Yo, we can talk. The footage stuff I got is not what I thought it was, so
how dare you?
I hate to see it.
Modern Warfare 3. This is obviously the third one in the rebooted Modern Warfare timeline. And if you're going, wait a minute, they brought out a second one of those just last year. you're correct. This game, for all intents and purposes, was actually meant to be like a sort of expansion to the multiplayer. Call of Duty was meant to take like a year off. And then early in the year, Activision was like, no, it's going to be a full-priced sequel. This one's being developed by Sledgehammer, not Infinity Ward, who have done the previous 2 Modern Warfares, and it will continue the story a year on. So the campaign was made over like the space of a year and a half as opposed to 3 years as normal. And I can tell you from my perspective that definitely shows. Firstly, it's like way shorter than usual. But also it just lacks a lot of the cool like action roller coaster moments, like Michael Bay movie moments that these Call of Duty campaigns have been, I think, come to known for over time, and what makes them so much fun in my view. Instead, a lot of the missions have been replaced with what they call, are they called open combat missions?
I think it's open combat, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like think of Warzone or DMZ, like very small sectioned off part of the map, and it's like you can freely move in that map any way you please, and there's multiple objectives to complete, and you do things like pick up kill streaks and pick up weapons in crates, and it's very strange to pick up an airstrike and just launch that in the middle of a mission, you know, given the context of like the cutscenes before and after. I think this is especially true in the very first open combat mission you do as Farah.
Yeah.
Where like a friend of hers has just died, and like 30 seconds later you're like just fucking picking up weapons everywhere and picking up drones and like killing people. It's just like it there's like a complete disconnect from the story and what you're actually doing in the mission. Also, those missions just feel kind of boring because you're kind of free to do your own thing. They lack a sense of focus, and a lot of the times it feels like you're just fighting bots in a multiplayer match, which feels kind of lame. So yeah, what's your perspective on those? This new take.
It's exactly that. I think you hit the nail on the head there, where there's a complete disconnect, where a typical Call of Duty is this very, you know, for better or worse, you can love it or hate it, it is a scripted A to B to C to D narrative of you walking down a linear corridor or an open area, but you're still funneling towards an objective. And it makes sense there because, you know, then it's tailored. They know you're going to walk down this part of the map, and then 3 enemies are going to spawn and shoot at you, and then you're going to go around the corner, and it feels, you know, it's for lack of a better description, it's tailored, it's curated, whatever. And there are these big Michael Bay moments of, I don't know, these big set pieces. And while I understand the thinking behind an open combat map of let's give the players tools to do whatever they want, it does come across as very tacky. And I think even more so because it feels like it's straight from Warzone. And don't get me wrong, like I get it, you know, they're the same game, they're built off the same foundation. It's just to the point where it feels, like you said, I know in a campaign you're playing against bots, but here it feels that you are actually just playing a DMZ map against bots, but instead of playing in a squad, you're playing solo. So it's just very weird. It comes across as very, like, to your point of there was a short development cycle. It feels rushed. You can see it feels rushed. It's a thing of, because the thing is, these open combat missions aren't the only part of the campaign. There are certain scripted missions, but they're so few and far between that you do wonder if they had some maps and some things done and they went, okay, but we can't ship a 2-hour story. We can't ship a 3-hour story. We need to pad these out with open combat maps. How do we do that? Oh, we've got this foundation from Warzone. Maybe we can market it as a single player thing. And while I get the thinking behind it, in execution, it's horrible. It really feels as a last second tacked on thing, and it feels very much that Activision are doing a money grab. Sorry, like that is what it feels like. I mean, at no point did you have to make this a full blown sequel. you could have made this a
Yeah.
DLC, and I can tell you now, even if it was this as a DLC, people wouldn't have rolled their eyes on. If I paid half price for this or $10, whatever, I would have gone, okay, cool, it's a piece of story content. But now to have this whole full package with this, not like laughable is a bit harsh, but with this laughably short campaign, it's just very strange. It makes me wonder, like what is happening to Call of Duty. I think for years now, it feels that the franchise struggles. And I mean, even saying that feels like, I know I'm wrong. Modern Warfare 2 was really good. I enjoyed that. But it feels that there are just way more missteps than successes. And this one is just like a huge stumble. I'm like, so for like, take Modern Warfare 2 out the picture. Like the last one was Vanguard, and even that was like, okay.
That was already like, you could start seeing like problems, like the high bar of quality, especially when it comes to the campaigns. Because like, let's be real, like not everyone plays the campaigns. Like I get that. Like probably the majority of people don't play the campaigns, get that. But the campaigns are still there for someone. They're there for people like me and you. And they had a high bar. Like I would say that was it 2019 was when Modern Warfare first came back.
Yeah.
That game was, that single player is fantastic. Like it is so fun, so good. And then Cold War, Black Ops Cold War after that, I didn't find like as good, but I still think it was really fun and really. And it's like from Vanguard onwards that you start seeing this like decline. Like Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, I didn't like at all. And this one's on another level of like bad. I do think the scripted missions that are in here are pretty fun. I think the game starts off with probably its best mission in that prison break in the Gulag. I think that is a beat for beat Call of Duty mission. Like infiltration, silent, go loud, crazy explosion, heavy escape, and it's like paced perfectly. It's really, really fun. And then after that, it's just stumbles.
That's exactly it. The typical Call of Duty starts out with that and then maintains it for pretty much the whole duration. In some ways, the missions vary, whatever. Yeah, you start off with that, and then immediately the second mission is an open combat mission. And I mean, there's a stealth mission. There's the only stealth mission in the game, which I think you've done, where you play as Laswell, where you have to go do something. How short was that mission?
Yeah, and that mission was nonsense. Like that could have been a cutscene.
It could have been a cutscene. It's like, okay, you're going to infiltrate this base. Okay, you walk in, you sneak in, you kill one officer, get a key card, you have a cutscene, mission ends. I was like, that is barely a mission. Like, that it was laughable how that was just included,
and it served no purpose. All it did was to show how one character got away from like something that you thought was inescapable. Like it literally could have been a cutscene. So I really don't.
Strange.
I don't know. And the story also just barely makes sense. I think like Modern Warfare 2 ends with this cliffhanger where, surprise, like General Shepard's bad, and that Greaves guy, who's actually a pretty good, like menacing bad guy, leader of Shadow Company, is like tries to kill Price's men, and then like straight away in the third one, they're just working together again. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it's a thing of, well, okay, we've got our eye on you. It's like, hell,
did you kill me?
Did you play Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, you literally shot at me and nearly murdered me, and now you're saying, "Oh, we got our eye on you." Yeah, like please, come on. It's just, it's really disappointing.
Even just as an overall package, like I've dabbled with the multiplayer, and again, by no means the target market of multiplayer. I love it. I just don't put in as nearly as many hours as the average Call of Duty player does. Even there, like, do the new maps warrant being behind a $60 paywall?
That
like,
$70. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's the question.
I can't tell you that the multiplayer is significantly different over Modern Warfare 2. I mean, it's the same base game, the same foundation. And then even I've dabbled with the zombie mode a bit, and while I think it's fun, it's still very much, it's basically like DMZ but with zombies. And I you could probably have included that as a mode in Warzone, and you would have found a player base, and yeah,
you can tell that they were trying to get as much in here to justify the $70 as possible.
But it's exactly that.
Yeah, because like they knew from the outset that this was meant to just be a map pack. Essentially, this was an expansion. $30, you get all these new maps, and I think people would have been okay with that because the people who play multiplayer were going to buy that anyway. They get a bunch of maps, cool. But now they've stuffed in this like extremely subpar campaign, the zombies mode that they made a big deal about it being the first time outside of a Black Ops or whatever, and it's like bad. But those two things just being there now push the price up to $70. And the one thing that people, anecdotally seem to actually be happy with the multiplayer is the thing that now you have to pay $70 to get. Yeah. And it's just kind of shit. Like, I think that's shit. I think every other year you can make the argument that, people have been paying $70 for the multiplayer every year. But, that's their choice because the campaign there is still quality. It's still good. The multiplayer, I think this is the first time where it's not,
But the multiplayer across games have differed. I get it.
That's also true, yeah.
It's going from a World War II to a Black Ops to a Modern Warfare. The multiplayer is all different. There'll be different weapons. Yeah,
big gameplay changes.
Yeah, I'm just like, but it's the same multiplayer. I know there are new maps and stuff, and there probably are new weapons, but it's the same base multiplayer, and you putting it behind a full price package like that. Just
I think a saving and a saving grace, and also a downfall is that they brought over all the stuff from Modern Warfare 2. Like, it's good that they did that because I think people would have a much bigger
problem if they couldn't.
Issue, like if they couldn't like swallow this pill of $70, but at the same time, it then makes you like question why you spend $70 on this at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I really don't like that Call of Duty is in the space because as much as people give it shit, I do enjoy playing them every year.
Same, and I will say that I think Call of Duty is very underrated in how it looks and works. Like the fact that it looks as good as it does. I mean, I know we're on modern platforms now, but the fact that these games have looked like this for years now and been 60 FPS, I like the hyper-realistic.
And it looks fantastic. Yeah,
it does. I take my hats off to them, but then it's just frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's reports that, next year's back to Black Ops, which means that Treyarch has had the traditional 3 years to work on a game. So that's probably good. And I hope that, it's too late for Microsoft to step in now. Oh, it will be too late because they're still figuring out contractual stuff. They haven't even really begun dabbling with Activision stuff yet. So I think the next Call of Duty is still very much a product of Activision. And I'm just curious to see where that goes.
Yeah. Ja, it is a bummer because it
is a bummer.
It's like probably the worst Call of Duty I've played in years. And I mean, I've got a
100%.
huge gap in my knowledge where I've missed a lot of Call of Duty. So I'm talking like I've played Vanguard, Cold War, Modern Warfare 1. Modern Warfare 2 is like hands down the worst out of all of them. Even this is like what?
No, this is on the same scale as like Black Ops 4, which coincidentally was the one that tried to ship without a campaign too, and it like derailed Call of Duty for a long time. So yeah,
it is wild is all I'll say.
In more positive news, I guess, Alan Wake 2, I want to hear about this because you briefly showed this to me while I was there because, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but also like this game's been out for like a month.
But I've got so many spoilers for you now.
Holy crap, it has been out for a month. Jesus Christ.
Is it a month?
Yeah, because it was like a week after Spider-Man.
Sure, let me tell you.
So this game looks insane. I watched you play it on PS5, so it doesn't have all of the fancy
bells and whistles,
ray tracing stuff. Yeah, but I mean, the lighting, oh my God.
It is
magicians.
Actual magicians. It is a visual masterpiece. And it's amazing because I do wonder, how's Remedy getting this so right? I mean, their last game was Control. And Control, I think today, is still a showpiece for what RTX can do.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
have to see what this game looks like on PC because, good God,
Yeah,
it
me
looks
too.
really
so
good on
tempted.
PS5. And it's really good. It's shocker. Like, so I'm about, I'd say I'm about 7 hours in. And I say 7 hours, but with the disclaimer that I've really taken my time. I'm exploring every single corner of whatever area I'm in. It is just so good. The Remedy are just masters at just telling stories, I guess. And more over and above that, I just think the atmosphere here, the survival horror, it is way more survival horror than even I thought it would be. Because like I played Alan Wake 1 years after the fact and I thought, yeah, it's tense, but it didn't strike me as
It's more
like,
an action game.
it
Yeah.
feels like it starts off like, oh, there's all these shadows and you figure out and you get over it. You're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like I know I've got to point my flashlight at them. It's more action than horror. This game though, I mean the only, and I've heard people say like, oh, it's not that scary. Like I'm not, when I say scary, I'm not talking, the conventional like, oh no, there's blood and gore and then there's just surprise monsters that jump out of nowhere. It's just how they play with your expectations of you'll just be walking and then something will flash and it'll just like give you a fright. It's like it's completely unexpected. Like the biggest compliment I can give it is that Lenska says she's never seen me jump more in a game. And it's more like it's me just getting like unexpected jolts of surprise. I'm like, oh shit.
Yes.
Even some of the way some of the enemies move, like I'm still early in the game. I think it's like 16 to 20 hours. So I'm not even halfway. And the shadow figures I fought, it's this thing of, like I explained to you, maybe audio listeners won't see it, but if you're looking on camera now, like there's a shadow figure there, right? And it walks towards you, but you're not sure if it's just a shadow or if it's going to be an actual enemy. Okay, and there are times...
Oh, so they don't always manifest.
No, they don't always
enemies.
manifest. And there are times in the game when there are like 7 of them, for example, and they're all walking, like there is actual footage here you'll see shortly where there's a whole group of them walking towards me and it's just, you don't know who's going to actually attack. And then when it happens, that shadow figure like literally almost teleports towards you and it surprises you like, oh my God, like I didn't expect it. So on that level, it is way more, scary than I thought it would be, way more surprising. And also, for lack of a better comparison, I didn't expect it to remind me so much of Resident Evil. Like I think Remedy have definitely taken inspiration from the Resident Evil remakes from 2 onward and including this year's Resident Evil 4. It just feels that in terms of ammo management and HUD and stuff, it feels like there's a lot of inspiration taken from those games, which is a good thing.
I've heard the like inventory management and stuff like that is very Resident Evil 4 inspired.
That quick select bar is like identical to thing. If you get your weapon, you can say I wanted like which part of the directional pad I wanted, up, down, left, right. And you can do it with everything, with healing items, utility items. And like I think you're going to take inspiration from another survival horror franchise like Resident Evil is
take it from the best.
Take it from the best.
Yeah.
And Alan Wake 1 wasn't that. Like I don't remember it being that. So
it definitely wasn't, yeah.
They've elevated it here, the survival horror very well here. And then in terms of the actual story, it's I know Remedy say, I've seen, you don't have to have played Alan Wake 1 to understand what's happening, nor Control. But I'm like, if you've played both, shit, it'll do you such a service because there'll be things happening and you can go like, oh yes, like that's from that game. Like
I think especially like Alan Wake 1.
Alan Wake 1 is like mandatory. I think you can miss Control and get away with it, but having played Control, I'm like, oh, like these worlds, they exist in the same universe. It's very cool to see the references and then, the little nods to each other. And like, again, I haven't finished the game. I don't know to what extent they blow it out of like, I don't know, do I see Jesse Faden, for example? I don't know. Do they talk about the Bureau of Control explicitly? I don't know. But I've seen little nods and winks. I'm like, oh shit, like that's cool. And then if you've never played Alan Wake 1, I'm like, I don't know how the story will make sense to you. Like, I guess, the basis is, okay, Alan Wake's gone missing. And as a newcomer, you're like, who the hell is Alan Wake? And you'll learn as you play.
Yeah.
But you and I have played, like, oh no, he's stuck in the dark place. It's like this segment you're
and
seeing
like you
now.
have context as to why he's there.
Yeah, this segment you're seeing now, like, oh, he's in the dark place. Like, cool, I understand why he's here.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
and what he's been doing trying to escape,
Yeah, but I can all I can say is that after 7 hours I've got nothing but praise for this game. Like I'm completely hooked. And the only reason I haven't finished it is because I've been hosting you. And I've been busy this week with other stuff.
I'm so sorry.
But I'm very, very, very excited to keep playing it.
So isn't it nuts that this is like Remedy's first survival horror, and they've nailed it?
They've nailed it so well. And again, like, do they keep it for the full duration? I don't know. I don't know what other enemies await for me, but like, so this is a good example. Sorry, audio listeners, you're getting cheated here. Look how there are tons of shadow figures.
I just saw you do something that you showed me when I was there. It's like he's got a device. Oh my God.
You see, like how it just comes at you.
He's got a device that can like, so this is Alan. He can like suck in light, but then that in turn like adds light somewhere else or something. Like you
basically
you took a light and then the
else,
sirens on the car came on. So
it's really good. I mean, they know what they're doing. Even so, for those of you who don't know, it's Alan Wake 2, but you have another protagonist in the form of Saga, who basically the story is balanced between you playing her story and Alan's story. And then I have reached a point now where you get to choose whose story you progressing.
Okay, nice.
I completely forgot what point I was getting at. Oh, the getting the light thing. It's just a gameplay mechanic of like you can take light and then put it somewhere else because it changes the dark place in certain ways. It's just I can't even talk about how the story functions because even that it's like in the dark place, Alan's trying to obviously get out, but the dark place manifests what he writes. So there are parts in the game where he discovers like a plot point or something, and you can activate that plot point in a scene, and it will change the scene and help you progress, or give you context for something, or give you a clue for where to go. It is very clever.
This is essentially what they were saying. I know American Nightmare, which was like an expansion to Alan Wake, was the idea was one of Alan's attempts to write himself out of the dark place. So he's trying to like narrate himself out there, and that was one manifestation of that attempt, which didn't work. So it's cool now that you have more control over that. So technically, Alan has written all of these things, and you're just choosing what to enact in the world to bring that into like fruition type of thing. That's pretty rad.
So yeah, he's got that. And then on Saga's side, like for context on her, who she's an FBI agent, investigating, murders that have happened in
with Sam Lake,
with good pal Sam Lake, Casey Jones.
Sam Lake just joined for the journey.
But even what they do with her, it's a thing of at any point. So when you're playing as Alan, at any point you can hit like it doesn't pause the game first of all, but you can enter like the writer's room, and you've got a board with all the plot points and how they're stitched together, whatever. On Saga's side, she's got like an investigation board, and even that, it's so clever how they've done it. Of you investigating this thing happening in Bright Falls, whatever, and anytime you find a clue, it's like literally given to you. Like, here's the clue. You need to put it on the board. And it just helps, like for someone like me, it just really helps me keep the story together. Like following, what is happening over here. Oh, this is a suspect. This is how it happened. Because I'm physically now having to place the thing on the board, and it's just a very clever way.
Do you have to connect the lines between clues and be like, okay, this relates to that?
So for example, you have multiple cases in like a cabinet that you can pull out and put on the wall. I know it sounds weird when I explain it, but when you play the game, it makes complete sense.
I've heard people talking about like this being her mind palace.
It's her mind, it's her mind palace. It's where she like steps away from reality to investigate cases.
Yeah.
But at any point you have 3 questions, like, where did this, thumb sucking this, but like, where did this cult start? What is their objective? What is their community like, for example? And I could go I could find like a cabin tucked away in the wood, and then it'll pop up as a clue, and then I have to put it on one of those questions like, what is their community like? I'll put it on there, and it'll be like, then it'll draw the line for me, go like, like they live in the woods, for example. And then over time, you start to see these walls fill out, like how these strings connect, just like in the movies. You know how people solve crimes,
the red string,
and it's just they could have completely automated that or not had it, but the fact that I'm manually doing it and like solving the case, I think just sells this more as like a mystery that I'm solving. It's just very cool.
Makes you feel like more of a detective, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's one of Remedy's strong points is they're just very good at telling stories in unique ways, and that to me is like a very smart way of incorporating. Like you're playing it's a survival horror, but there's a mystery here, and you solving it, and like it puts you in control of like, you know, even though they're spoon feeding it, you're still solving it. You're putting the pieces together, and I really like that.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I've just got nothing but praise for this game, and like again, I've played 7 hours. Will it lose its charm after 10 hours? I don't know. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying it thus far. So yeah,
cool. Can see why it's high on Game of the Year recommended. Oh, it's part of the Game Awards Game of the Year nominees.
It's a front runner, and I completely get it. It's a work of art, honestly. Real good.
Sounds great.
Sam Lake makes me laugh. What a guy.
Seems like such a cool guy. You met him at Gamescom without even knowing who he was.
No, I knew who he was. But it is
because you saw Quantum Break there, if I'm not mistaken.
I still have a Remedy shirt from Gamescom. No, it was more. I was more amazed by how low key it was of like, because I think this is before Control. Remedy, I mean, they're not nobodies, but back then they were like even. Almost
they weren't
like
at the scale
known.
they are now, yeah.
It's like, it's the Max Payne people. They're working on the game.
Especially back then when they were showing off Quantum Break, it was like, oh, these guys made Max Payne.
They made Max Payne. So when I when I saw Quantum Break, it wasn't like this main stage. It was literally like a quiet little side room at Gamescom, and you walk in and there's Sam Lake there. It's like, oh.
You're like, it's Max Payne.
That's the dude who played Max Payne. It's like, that's cool. Now I'm like, man, now I really know who Sam Lake is. Like they've done such good things, and like I have such respect for that studio.
He's the sort of guy that, like, you know, we've got these auteurs in gaming, these figures who like transcend the studios that they work at, which is sometimes good or bad. You know, in the case of Hideo Kojima, I think it's very bad because everyone attributes like Metal Gear Solid as its entirety to him.
Of course,
and that could not be further. It could not be further from the truth. For, you know, there are multiple reports up there who say he was very hands off. Like, so there's that, and then there's like Sam Lake, who is becoming this sort of figure, but at the same time, I don't think everyone looks at Sam Lake and goes, "Oh, that's the guy who made Alan Wake." It's like no, Sam Lake wrote Alan Wake. Like, people understand that he is a writer, you know, and a director, and that other people do everything else, which is kind of cool.
It is interesting because I 100% see him on the same level of Kojima, where like I know Kojima is full of bullshit, don't get me wrong, but I still love Kojima for his bullshit.
100%. I love Kojima, but
I know, but it's when you can't be like he single-handedly made like these where Sam Lake, I see him more as like he's the face of Remedy, but he's at no point do I go like, wow, Sam Lake single-handedly pulled this off. Like, it was because of him, you know. Yeah,
every
Control
decision was
turned
his.
Out the way it did, and I'm like, no, he's just the face of that studio, and like, I love that studio. I think he's a great person to have as the face of your studio.
I think that's also just the difference between, you know, I guess when Kojima was at Konami, he's still at a Japanese company, and they like to keep things very quiet about like the internal makeup of a team or whatever. It was very strange that he was kind of like front and center for a whole company. Yeah. Whereas in Europe, that's not the case. Like, you see like the technical and gameplay directors of Remedy at least talking on Twitter all the time, and Sam like retweeting them and them talking about those aspects of the game, in the same way that Naughty Dog does that, where it's like you've got Neil Druckmann, but you see a lot of the directors of the other games and a lot of the art directors talking on Twitter. So it's not just, although to a degree, I think a lot of people attribute The Last of Us to just Neil Druckmann, which is also like insane. But yeah. Anyway,
what do you mean? He wrote it, animated it, programmed it, all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Naughty Dog Jesus. Yeah.
Can we call Sam like
Yoked
he just needs a beard
Jesus,
and he can be Remedy Jesus.
Oh my goodness. And long hair. My
Long
God.
hair. Wait, I can't wait for you to play Alan Wake. There's so much
I'm very excited to play it. Like I know I'm going to enjoy it.
There are also just moments that are like, I think one takeaway I want everyone listening or watching from this episode to take is like, you can see this game was like, and I know it sounds pretentious saying it's handcrafted. Every game's handcrafted, but this is like, you can see the attention to detail to like every beat. I mean, like for example, walking into a diner and having a radio station play, and there's like a whole segment that plays. It's written with such like care, and often there are times when it's like actually humorous, which is you can see they're balancing this. It's a survival horror game, but like we're going to balance it with some light-hearted moments before we make you shit your pants. It's just,
I think Alan Wake was full of that as well. Like when you were walking around Bright Falls and stuff like that, you got that sense. So I'm glad that that's been retained yet, and it's not just like overbearing horror 100% of the time.
No, I've laughed very hard at this game, which surprised me even. It's like, wow, that is
I'm
hilarious.
super keen. I've loved Remedy for a long time. I was one of the few apologists for Quantum Break. I thought Quantum Break fucking ruled. I gave that game a 9, and that is not how that game shook out eventually. So I'm very happy Remedy's where they're at now, and I loved Control. Control was like one of my favorite games of that year, so I'm very keen to get stuck into this.
Yeah. Alan Wake 2.
Alan, wake me up.
Alan, wake me up
when this podcast ends.
Wow. Shall we tell me about your... I know people listen to us purely for Zelda, because we don't talk about it, but you actually played a fair bit of Zelda, on your Switch during your travels, because the Switch is just great for that.
The Switch is good, man. The Switch, I did the whole, I'm going to play Switch in its preferred mode. Tent mode, I played on the plane. Then I played in portable mode. Those are the only 2 modes I played. Sorry, I don't know what other
is
modes
tent
there are.
mode?
Well, I don't know. When you put the fucking kickstand out and I'm just playing, is that not tent mode?
Did you pull the blanket over your head?
Yeah, on the plane, I just like...
is this some new
someone
life hack?
Someone taps me on the head like, do you want food? And I'm like, no, go away.
This is a life hack I've just missed. I don't know.
Let me tell you, I felt very self-conscious as a 31-year-old playing a Nintendo Switch.
I have no scum.
Like, fuck is this guy doing?
I play that shit on the bus. I play it on the train, no scum. I'm there having
to be fair, I did spot an elderly lady. I'm not going to guess what age she was, but I wouldn't say she was younger than 50, in Heathrow Airport playing a yellow Nintendo Switch Lite. And I was like, that's cool. That's very cool.
Can I tell you, I'm that person where I'm walking past, I'm like, what are they playing?
I really wanted to see, like, is it Animal Crossing? Like, what's going on there?
I will say, so we will talk about Zelda shortly, but Nintendo's marketing is a lie, because marketing will have you believe that everyone in public is out here playing Switches. And I can tell you, after being in London for nearly 5 months, well, nearly 6 months, commuting public transport, I've probably seen like 3 Switches in that whole time.
I just think it's not the space. Like when we were on the underground, I was thinking about it and I was like, this is not where I would want to play Switch, because every minute and a half, the doors are opening, people are getting on and off, people are shuffling, moving around me. Unless I've got a seat away from everyone, I'm not really in the space to enjoy a
maybe
game.
Not, but bus and trains, perfect. You can do your thing.
A bus, I think, the bus we took. The only problem with me is that I get like
motion sick.
Super motion sick on cars.
I did think
that's a real bummer.
The Switch, as portable as it is, it's no Game Boy. Like when I play in the
it's
bus,
not small enough.
Like I've got to take it out my bag, put my bag down, like flip it open.
But that's why you see people playing on their phone all the time. Like I saw some dude.
Like, I'm not sad, but like I would have loved to have lived here during the Game Boy era to see like, well, how many people did actually, because that is, you can slide it in your pocket, take it out in like 2 seconds.
Not even then, just PSP era.
Or PSP, yeah.
Yeah, PSP would have been, you can slot that thing in your pocket, no problem. Like, so I actually spotted one guy playing the new Warcraft game on his phone on the subway, and I stared at it for a long time. I think he thought I was creepy. I was just trying to figure out what was going on. There were a lot of screens to tap away from, and it looked very much like a mobile game. I was like, it looks
okay, well, anyway, the Switch is great. You played Zelda.
The Switch is great. Yeah, I played it on the plane, played it on the train to Manchester because that was quite an extended trip. I played it in bed in Matthew's apartment. It was great. It was a good time. So I was joking with Matthew when I told him that I had only done one temple, the fire temple. So I made it my mission to be like, okay, let me try and, try get to at least another temple. Let me go do the bird people. Rito
Village, yeah.
So I made that my goal one evening. I then spent 2 hours not achieving that goal. I just spent 2 hours fucking around in the sky.
Of course.
Figuring out some temples there because that was just fun. But I eventually got to the Rito. I got to the Wind Temple, which was really, what was funny? I climbed that fucking whole structure beforehand because I saw it. And I was like, I wonder what's on the top here. And I got there, nothing was there. And I was like, oh, okay. Then I went to the bird people.
Yeah.
Then they just took me right back there. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. So I did the whole climb again. I really enjoyed the little ships in the air that have sails that propel you up into the air. That was really fun. And then the Wind Temple was a ton of fun. Like, definitely easier than the Fire Temple in terms of figuring out how to get to all my little objectives. Yeah. Because the mine carts in the Fire Temple made things a bit challenging. But the eventual boss was just 10 out of 10. Just what a good fight.
How many frames dropped during that sequence?
Oh my God, Jesus. The frame rate was not coping at all during that boss fight.
I was like, Nintendo, this boss is awesome, but there's a lot of effects going on here.
It's bad. It's like, so you're constantly flying, which is awesome. It just feels so good to like dive down, parachute back up, and like avoid this, use like your prowess in the air to avoid this big like enemy. That was really fun. Also figuring out how to like get to his weak points before he like lets you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he has an attack that exposes his weak point, but there is a way to get at them elsewhere. That was really cool. And just you and Mick mentioned that the music was really good. It did not disappoint.
That's still, I still have the Desert Temple to do. What are they called?
The
Gerudo. Hold on. Who are the stone people?
Goron.
Oh, okay, sorry. So the Gerudo, I still have their temple to do. But out of the 3 temples I've done, that theme is like the best. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's the first one I did. I was like, man, this game slaps.
It's a proper good one. And there's some good moments with Tulin?
Tulin, yeah.
The small bird. Yeah, Tulin.
Also, my favorite character out of all of them thus far.
Yeah, he's super cool. And the ability... I do somewhat miss the ability you get from the Rito in Breath of the Wild, because that propels you upwards. This one propels you horizontally, which is useful. It's especially useful when you figure out you can use it fucking mid-air. That's actually really cool. That's when it comes in clutch. So I didn't realize I could also have companions on at the same time. Things are getting crowded. It also feels like fucking easy mode, because in combat they just wreck people.
I'm okay, I'm not at all trying to discriminate people, but the purist in me, I put them off. I'm like, no, I want to fight alone.
I had the Goron one active for so long because I was just like, oh, he's cool to have around. But now with both of them, there are times where I'm literally waiting for an enemy to attack me so I can parry, and some fool just snipes him from nowhere with an arrow. I'm just like, okay, cool.
I do wonder, that's fun. When you have all 4 temples done, can you have all 4...
Could you imagine the frame rate then? Oh my God.
No, but you roll up to Ganon and you're like, listen, I'm here. And you just sit back and you watch the champions like destroy them.
That's probably the point. That's probably the whole point of this game, is like you can fight Ganon alone, or you can fight them with the sages. And the sages just handle everything.
Link's just chilling like on a beach somewhere, like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
No, what happened to my
back at Lookout Landing, just sipping sipping a good
This camera.
water. I'm still so far from the end of this game. Like, I just got the newspaper side quest because I just happened to find them.
But you know what? That's not even your fault, because you could have not gone to Rito until the last quarter of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And now this is like such a fundamental quest.
I will say this is on you, not for any reason that you've done anything wrong, because they
told me to.
They do tell you to go to Rito first. And you know what I did? I thought, you know what? I don't want to go off the beaten path. I'll listen to you, Zelda. Let's go. Let's go to Rito.
They told me to go there, and I was on the way there, but then I got distracted, and next thing I knew I was in Goron Village, and I was like, "Wow,
how this game fucks with people."
And then I definitely shouldn't have been there because everything was killing me. Like the game was definitely trying to tell me to leave. It's
the nature of this game. Like I 100% respect the fact that they let players figure out whatever they want to do. It is what makes Breath of the Wild and this game so good. It's like there is no, and it's the same,
and it makes it work.
Yeah, and it's the same thing why Elden Ring was so good. It's like they don't spoon feed you. You can go wherever you want, but it does work against the player in certain cases. Like I don't know if I've told you this, but my brother's playing Breath of the Wild, and I've been chatting to him like, "How are you enjoying it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's really cool, but I really hate having to find weapons." And I'm like, "Yeah, the weapons break." But then I had a thought, and I asked him, I said, "Have you upgraded your inventory?" He's like, "No."
Oh, no.
So I was like, "Oh, no. Have you not found
Hestu?
Hestu. Have you not found Hestu?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "It's not even your fault. It's one dude on a path you could have completely missed." I think 90% of players find it because they do just naturally go that way, but not at all your fault. But Google how to find this person. It will change your life. Like I
think you find him on the path to the fish people, which is technically first place they tell you to go.
It is, but like you could be on the top of a mountain and just avoid that one path. Like it happens.
To be fair, they put Hestu in a much better place. Tears of the Kingdom. But if you don't know who he is, you just walk around him and be like, "Wow, that's a weird looking dude," and just never speak to him. And like you'll be fucked again because the Korok people don't tell you that that's what you should do.
But we've spoken about this off air as well. The armor upgrading system, Breath of the Wild, perfect. You find a fairy person, they say to you, "We can upgrade your armor." Cool. Here, you're like, "I wonder how you upgrade armor." Oh my god, there's a fairy person over there. You go talk to him. Like, "I don't want to talk to you until you do some obtuse
like music
thing."
quest.
Like, I don't know how to do that, and that I find very.
No, it's really annoying. That's the one place I think they've kind of gone backwards a bit.
Yeah,
and on top of it, like that quest starts all the way in. This is another thing. It starts away in the region Hateno, which is literally the most diagonally furthest part away from where Rito is. So it is the furthest part away from where they first tell you to go. And that's also where Robbie goes. Yeah. And he's like, "Come find me for an upgrade to your pet." So it's like, well, where do I go? Like, should I go there? But because that's like really far away. And then like travel all the way back. Or so I don't know why they chose to divide those two that way, but it's weird feels strange.
If you play like me, so we can talk about this game forever because it's so good.
Of course.
But like how I play, because I've played Breath of the Wild, and even then it is the same thing of I sort of did it I ticked off that map diagonally. Oh, not diagonally, like clockwise. Like I worked my way around it or anti-clockwise, whichever way it was. I never went like, northwest and then southeast and then south. Like I kind of did it side by side. And I'm doing the same thing here in Tears of the Kingdom, where I started at Rito Village and they were like, "Cool, if you want to get Robbie's upgraded pad, you got to go southeast." I was like, but it's like the opposite end of the map. So I only got to him like more than halfway through my playtime because I did the map clockwise. I went around. Whereas like good friend John Michael also played Tears of the Kingdom. Have you ever pulled open your map and seen how your character moves? You can activate that to see where your path is.
Yes.
Mine is like starts in the middle, and then you see me like slowly work my way around.
Working your way.
John Michael's like goes to Rito straight southeast, like boop.
Immediately.
Almost in a direct, like, because that's how he plays. He's like, "Oh, I need that thing, I'm just going to go get it." So he like beelines it straight down. Then from there, it's like, "I need to go straight up." And then like there's obviously exploration, but it's just funny how we've both tackled it completely differently. And like, that is what
I
the
think
game
mine
is.
would be very similar to John Michael, where I went, well, not beeline, but I would be like Goron and then fuck around like everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like go towards Rito, but completely miss it and fuck around somewhere else. And then figure out that I need to be back at Rito.
I'm meticulous. I'm actually like, my map is literally just like, I'm really trying to explore everywhere. It's like, I'm still missing stuff because, I mean, there's a lot to do.
Oh, I'm missing so much in the sky, in the bottom. Like, I kind of, that's the sort of like anxiety you got to let go of when playing this game. Because I do get that, like the beginning of Breath of the Wild and even the beginning of this, it was like, oh my God, I have to see everything. I can't not. Like, as soon as you let that go and just go, I'm just going to walk in that direction. And, oh, this distracted me. Go there. Oh, this distracted me. Go there. Like, forget about finding everything. You're not going to. Like, it's not possible. You're not going to get every seed. You're not going to get every temple, every shrine unless you actively try. Rather just play the game at your own pace and then figure that stuff out later.
And that's also, I think, when you enjoy the game the most is you
absolutely
it's made.
That's when you come across dynamic things and you're just like, oh my,
it's designed
how did
to
I find
be
this?
Explored like however the hell you want. I mean, okay, we'll move on shortly, but it's the same thing of when I don't know how they've done this. It's like I'll bump into somebody somewhere and I have a conversation with him. They're like, oh, I'm going to whatever village, and then hours later, like 20 hours later, I talk to the same person and they acknowledge that I spoke to them before, and I'm like,
yes,
damn. And said, how did you pull this off?
It's magic, man. It's absolute magic.
But like that could happen for me. It might not happen for you. Like that's a very unique thing that I had of me, and like 5% of players might have that interaction.
But you'd be surprised. A lot of like that happens a lot to me. It's that sort of effect of like, you know, when you were at an expo like E3 or Rage and you ran into someone that you hadn't seen in a while, or you locked eyes with someone and you imprinted their face in your brain, and then 3-4 times throughout that day you keep seeing their face because now it's like you notice them a lot more. Like Zelda's got those moments encapsulated in terms of discovery, and I don't know how they do it. Like how they go, okay, you deviated there, you did this shrine. In proximity to that shrine, there's X, Y, and Z, which you'll probably see. You exit the shrine at a certain point, and if you turn left, you'll see this thing. If you turn right, you'll see that thing. And then you'll go there. And then at that point, do another thing. Like it's so meticulously crafted that you will see something of interest everywhere. But it's not like a drowned out open world where it's like icons and markers and whatever. It feels so organic and
I would love to see like the number crunching that happened like post Breath of the Wild and going into Tears of the Kingdom. Of I'm sure they can see player stats of like, where did people not explore the most, or how did people do it, or even just from play testing, how do they figure out, you know, like, okay, like you said, they put a shrine somewhere. How do they look at it and go, okay, we need to put like something north, something west, and then they do that across a whole map. Like, I don't know how they problem solve that, but they've done it.
Yeah. I think this is also partly why the system of degradation on your weapons is so important to be that way, because as soon as you start attributing importance to one chest over another, because this chest now has this sword, or one specific enemy on the map because you can attain this thing from them, you rob the importance of every other discovery away, because every other one is in service of finding that ultimate one. Whereas now when everything is breaking and degrading, your really cool sword is only cool for 30 minutes and then it is no longer in existence. So its discovery is very important, but it is no less important than finding a sword that you absolutely need because you are running low on weapons at any other given time. So those two now hold the same importance, despite one being more common than the other. Yeah. And I think people overlook that when they think about like the degradation system. Like it a lot of this game's exploration would not work if you were not forced to like hunt or gather for everything you need. It would make the world feel lifeless. So it's super important. What a game.
Tears of the Kingdom. Really good game.
Yeah.
We've had countless conversations about this damn game over the year.
We'll continue to. I'm almost certain I will not finish it before we discuss
I know.
Game of the Year,
You
but it's
definitely
going to
won't.
be up there. Like, it's going to be up there. It might even be at the top.
Yeah.
And it's also fun because my Game of the Year list, come at me.
Dumb rules. How dare you?
I make up the rules.
That's Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
The last
Staying
thing,
on Nintendo.
Well, yeah, the reason I have not been playing Breath of the Wild is because I have been playing a wonderful game called
Get out of here.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which I do not have footage of. Maybe I'll do some editing post-recording. Not guaranteeing anything. I have rolled credits.
Just pretend to say, if you're watching the video.
If you're watching the video, you'll see our faces.
You'll see an Italian
you'll
plumber.
see me take a sip of water. So yeah, I rolled credits on Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And I think this is a phenomenal 2D Mario. I think Mario, it's weird saying Mario games can be hit or miss. I don't mean like they flops or whatever, but I think it's very difficult to, you either like 3D Marios or you prefer 2D Marios or you prefer neither or you like both. It's difficult for me to, if you were to say, how does this compare to Odyssey? I'm like, I don't quite know how to equate it because while they're both Mario, and platformers, they're both different games. But in terms of 2D platforming, like I think Mario Wonder is right up there. It's a phenomenal time. Like I think Nintendo are just wizards at bringing, like we all know what Nintendo's core mantra is. It's basically like bring joy to people, like make people feel good, make them smile. And I think Mario Wonder is so good at that because the whole game, while these 2D levels are bite-sized, they all have this like aha moments or just a mechanic that lasts literally for that level, maybe 2 levels, and then you never see it again. And then in the next level, they bring something else. So if you don't know, Mario Wonder has this thing called, so basically what you're collecting through the game is a thing called Wonder Seeds. Every time you play a level, you get a Wonder Seed for literally finishing the level. But in every level, there's another Wonder Seed to collect. And when you pick it up, it'll flip the level on its head or do something completely unconventional. So that's what I'm talking about.
LSD seed.
Yeah, it's like you might be in a level with rolling boulders. Okay, like that's the hazard of, oh no, you don't get hit by the rolling boulder enemies, platform jump over them. Then you pick up the Wonder Seed. Now you as your character are a rolling boulder. It's just like these unexpected things. And it's a thing of like you've got to like roll and platform. It changes up the dynamic just enough to feel fresh. And you'll literally do that for one level. And
Mario lived long enough to see himself become the villain. Damn.
But that's what I'm saying. It's they've just injected so much creativity throughout the whole game because it is these little snippets and they're all wildly different from the last one. All like not wildly different, but they are just different enough to make you go like, man, that's cool. It was fun. Again, I'm just sticking with this as a dumb example. Like
so this does maintain like variety throughout because that was my big question going in.
There's
was like
so much
how
variety.
many of these are going to be repeated?
So many.
Wow.
There's a level where you pick up a Wonder Seed and there's a stampede of, I don't know what the enemy's called, but they look like bulls, like literally a line of them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And you just ride them through the whole level, and it's a 30-second to a minute smile-bringing moments of you just riding these things through the clouds, avoiding hazards, and then you finish level, and that's it. You
trample over Mufasa.
You trample over Mufasa, you cry a bit, but ultimately you get the reward at the end of the flagpole.
Yeah, the flag, that's the important bit.
That's the important part. But I think that's what brings this game, that's what makes this game so special. It's just that it's such a weird thing because nothing overstays its welcome. You have little snippets of like, that was cool, and then you move on to something else that's cool, if not cooler, and it just maintains that for the whole game. It's got the same, it's like all that said, it's got the same Mario tropes of, oh no, like Bowser's done something. Oh no, we've got to sort naughty Bowser, like up to no good again.
Naughty Bowser.
And then you go through the beats of, okay, there are 6 overworlds and they're all themed. Like there's a magma world, there's a cloud world, and those levels are themed according like you'd expect from a Mario. There's a desert world.
Yeah.
Shocker, never saw that one coming. And they're all there, but just the Wonder Seeds are these little surprises on each level and they're just fun to play through. I mean, even then, like the platforming it's Mario. It's precise. It feels good to make your way through the levels. The sound effects are great. The colors are just like the style of this Mario is really cool. I think they should keep this 2D style for the next few games. Like I think visually it looks great. And this game is just a joy to play through. Like I think that's the biggest takeaway of. I think Mario exists to just be a feel good. Like the game can be challenging. There are levels that are difficult. There's a special world with hidden difficult levels, but they're completely optional. And then even then, the existing campaign where there are challenging levels, you can collect badges throughout the game, which give you abilities or modifiers to make things easier or difficult. Like, for example, there's a badge you can equip that you can't not run, so you can't stand still. You're permanently running, but it helps you launch off platforms, meaning you can like jump further, for example. So it's a fun way to modify levels. There's a badge that makes you invisible. It says
makes you invisible.
Enemies can't see you, but then it makes it very difficult for you to see you, which adds its own challenge to the game.
Okay. So how do you platform when you can't see?
No. So when you jump, there's like little smoke clouds. So that's so you can add that on if you want to, or you can put a badge that's like you just jump higher, you run faster. You always start with like a mushroom. Like there are ways to make the game easier or difficult at your leisure. Like you can do that if you want or don't want to. So I don't know. There's just care that's been put throughout the game on that front as well, that you don't have to be a platforming whiz. I mean, I don't think in Mario games in general you have to be a platforming whiz, but you can tailor the game to be more challenging or easier if you want as well, which is quite cool.
And I guess you can just like not use those badges at all.
Badges. You can literally keep a badge on that makes you a magnet for money, which is just fun to have. It doesn't alter the game in any way. It just makes it fun to collect coins. Or you can put on a badge that literally makes you a spring, that you jump high, but you're a spring. It makes movement more difficult.
You can jump high, but you're a spring.
No, but it's fun little twists on, the game that you can add or not include at your own discretion.
Yeah.
Also, which I never did, this game is multiplayer. You can have 4 people playing at any time, which I imagine.
I heard it's got like almost like a Dark Souls multiplayer, where
yeah. So I didn't get
it's
to
like
explore
you can see
that,
people doing stuff.
So you can collect a thing called standees throughout the game, which is like a little cardboard cutout of your character, and you can place them in levels. So you could, for example, put a standee, I guess, like pointing up, and then that'll pop up if you connect it online. That'll pop up in other people's worlds, and they can look at the standee and go like, oh, they're pointing up. Like maybe there's a hidden seed there, or one of those purple coins that I need to go collect. So it is like that is when they say it's Dark Souls, and that's what they mean in that regard. It's like you can leave clues or tips for other players, or you can just put standees wherever, be a dick about it. It's like stand on the edge stand on the edge of a ledge and then like point down, which is a very Dark Souls thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
It's a great time. I rolled credits at about 12 hours.
Are you going to go for like 100% or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are certain seeds I've missed. There are big purple coins I've missed, and like I'll happily go hunt them down.
And the flagpoles, don't forget those.
And I've got most of them, I think, because I knew. I saw immediately. You get like a little different notification when you hit the top of that flagpole.
But it's such a shit one because it's literally the last action level. So if you miss that, you're like, fuck.
But
you just got to redo that level again.
But the levels are short enough that if you just speed run through it, it's less than a minute.
That's also true.
They're so quick.
Yeah, you only need to blitz through it. You don't need to do any of the fun things to get to the flag. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's a good time. I think 2D Mario is in a good space, and I don't know. I'll look you now to like, I don't know what they do for the next Mario game, but Mario's been around for decades and they do good shit with Mario. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the next one's definitely a 3D Mario.
3D,
obviously.
100% 3D.
And I'll put money on
Bowser's
that
Fury
launching
2, let's
with.
go.
Well,
I'm telling you.
they'll launch with the new Switch. That will be like day and date, because now we've got a new Zelda, so I don't see a new Zelda for a while.
Yeah.
I see a like a like a Link's Awakening sort of remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening. They should remake Majora's Mask, The Cowards. No, I'm joking. Yeah, cool.
It's Mario Wonder.
That is Mario Wonder, and I guess you're wondering when news is. It's not coming.
In case you're wondering where questions are, also not coming.
Also not coming. Yeah, as Matty said at the top of the show, if you did miss it, we're just going to be talking about games this week, and we have now, because we're recording multiple episodes today to kind of pad out the next few weeks, because it's December, we're traveling, the schedule's a bit weird. So, this is probably the last regular inverted commas show of the year. The next one will be our Game Award predictions, and just chatting about the Game Awards and some of the games there. And then the following week we will have our Game of the Year discussion, and we would like you to email us, send us questions, or not send us questions, send us your Game of the Year lists so we can read them out there and discuss your lists there. Would be very interested to hear what all of you think are the greatest games of this great 2023. Let's not go that far back.
Good God.
But this has been episode 242. Okay, cool. 242. Nice. Checkpoint Chat. We hope you have a delightful week playing lots of games. Hopefully, just crawling towards the end of the year, towards the break. And we will see you next week just before the Game Awards.
Cool.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Goodbye.